Hello guys, it's me Finley. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now guys, today we're going to be reacting to some more scary animations. So let's hop straight into this and let's go. Right, narrator, chilling scares.
When I was 30 years old, I'd saved enough money to buy my first house.
Okay, nice.
It wasn't anything special, and honestly, all things considered, it wasn't in the best neighborhood either. But I was still proud of the accomplishment nonetheless. I'd met all the nearby neighbors in, I'd say, the first 2 weeks I moved in. Considering the neighborhood, I was surprised to discover they all actually seemed pretty nice.
Oh,
a couple
cool.
of them even invited me over for dinner a few times.
Okay.
Having lived in different apartments all my life, this wasn't really something I was used to.
Yeah.
Of course, they weren't all like this, however. 2 houses down from the house I moved into lived a man that was probably 50 years old.
50.
Upon moving in, every other night or so, the dude would knock at my front door at some absurd hour asking for stuff.
Why?
So, like, as an example, the first time it happened, he asked me if I had any spare bread I wasn't gonna eat. Another time, he asked me if I could fill up the bucket with water, because his was turned off. It was just random, but somewhat understandable things like that.
That is so weird.
I drew the line when he started asking me for money. I figured I had no obligation to be constantly meeting this guy's needs. I mean, I had pretty much just met the dude.
Yeah.
I'd started opening the door to his knocks less and less.
Yeah.
But this didn't seem to have any effect on the number of times he would show up. Fast forward to a night a few weeks later, and again another knock. I'd planned to ignore it, like I'd grown accustomed to doing by that point.
Oh my god.
But as I looked through the peephole, I noticed the guy looked distressed. Seeing this, I decided the right thing to do would be to open up the door. So I did.
Okay.
I asked him what he needed, and what he responded with was not at all the type of response I was expecting.
Oh no.
He asked me if I could come over and show him how to use his new grill. Now, this happened around midnight, which in my opinion was an extremely odd time to start grilling.
Why would you ask someone to...
But against my better judgment,
That's
I
just
decided
so
I would
weird.
help him.
Why would you ask
I was pretty into cooking at that point in my life, and
I will
figured taking 10
question it.
minutes to show the guy how a grill worked wouldn't be the end of the world. I told him that I'd be over in a second, and that I just needed to put some shoes on. He thanked me and started walking back.
Right, sure.
A couple minutes later, and I made my way over to his house.
Oh no.
I opened some gate and walked into his backyard.
Oh no, this is not gonna be
It was dark, so it
good.
was hard to see, but it was clear there was no grill. On top of that, the guy was nowhere in sight. Although his back door was wide open, I stuck my head inside and yelled out for the guy. "Yeah, I'm down here. I need your help getting some meat from the freezer." The muffled response came from down a set of stairs just to the left of me.
Oh my god.
For me, Dropbox is a seamless way of ensuring that I have access to documents across my cell phone, my iPad.
Of course.
I was hesitant to go down.
Oh no,
There were no lights on down there. In fact, there wasn't a single light on throughout the whole house.
Don't go down.
I yelled down the stairs, asking him if he could turn on a light so I could see. There was silence for a few seconds. Eventually he responded. "No, they're broken. I can't do that." I knew something was off at that point.
Just run.
I yelled back something like, "I think I'm just gonna go, man." I kid you not, the second after I said this, audible footsteps started sprinting up the stairs. My flight reaction kicked in immediately. I ran directly back to my house and locked the door behind me.
Oh my
I pulled back a
god.
set of curtains and looked out one of my windows, but I didn't see anything. I was terrified.
Oh my
I thought about
god.
calling the police, but
That's
decided
so
against
scary.
it, figuring I really wouldn't be able to prove anything that just happened. For the next few days, I didn't leave my house for anything except work.
Oh my
During those
god.
days, I never saw the guy, nor did any late-night knocks occur. Exactly 1 week after it happened, I was talking with my neighbor across the street. The conversation eventually landed on what I experienced, and how I was planning to move because of it. But I was just met with a look of confusion. I was then informed that no one lived in the house I was talking about. It
What?
had been abandoned for 2 years.
What?
This prompted my neighbor to call the police. However, the police would find nothing inside or around the house. I moved out a few weeks later, so that's all I know. I'm not sure if anything else came from the situation or not. I still don't know who that guy was, or what he was trying to lure me into.
That is terrifying. Oh my god, I would not want to be in that situation, guys.
This
Oh
happened
my
during the
god,
summer
that's
before my sophomore
terrifying.
year in college. At that time, I was doing a lot of research for a place I could live during the coming school year that was close to campus. I found multiple good-looking apartments, but all of them were way out of my budget. I quickly figured out that if I wanted to live close to campus, I would need a roommate that could help pay each month's rent.
Yeah.
I posted an ad on Craigslist explaining my situation, hoping someone would be interested. Not even an hour after I posted the ad, I got a response. Apparently, it was some older lady in her 70s.
Older lady?
I was kind of expecting it to be another student from my university, but I figured it didn't really matter. As long as they were willing to pay half of the rent, I didn't really care.
God.
Plus, I didn't get any further responses in the next week,
weird. Like,
so I took the one opportunity I was given.
The hell?
Fast forward to the start of the school semester, and the two of us moved in. She introduced herself as Dorothy. She was short and had white hair.
Why did she move in?
Although a little quiet, she seemed nice.
Why did she move in with him?
I figured we'd get along fine.
She's 70,
so I wasn't too worried about the coming months.
16 or like
a few weeks passed, and I never really saw her that much.
God.
We had the occasional small talk conversation when we were both in the kitchen, but that was about it. For the most part, she would spend all of her time in her bedroom. Occasionally, while I was watching TV in the living room at night, I would hear this high-pitched giggling coming through the walls.
No. No. Oh my God.
The first few times it happened, I just assumed she was on her phone or something.
Oh my God.
But then I realized I never actually heard her talking. It was just her giggling. I couldn't imagine what she was doing. Over time, things just kept getting weirder. For example, she would start coming out of her room for no other purpose than to watch me.
What?
She would stand in the kitchen or hallway just looking at me while I watched TV
or
made myself dinner.
No.
Needless to say, I was getting more and more uncomfortable
fast.
Around her. One night, I woke up at around 3 a.m. to the sound of slight knocking on my bedroom door. Not knocking like trying to get my attention, but slow, soft, and barely audible knocking. I yelled out Dorothy's name, and right as I did, the knocking stopped. I knew it was her, because shortly after I heard her same giggling, followed by footsteps walking back to her room.
No.
I'd be lying if I said this didn't freak me out. I didn't have a lock on my door, so nothing was stopping her from coming into my room while I was sleeping.
I'm not even lying.
I didn't sleep at all the rest of that night. I had planned on confronting her about the situation
the
next day.
I would move out and I would just try to find a new roommate.
She never left her room once.
That is so scary, guys.
Come night again, and I decided to move my desk in front of my door as a makeshift barricade. Because, I mean, again, I didn't have a lock on my door, and I did not feel comfortable having nothing stopping her from entering my room. 3 hours later, and I woke up to the sound of my desk being hit by my door from someone attempting to open it. It was Dorothy.
It's Dorothy.
I could see her eye peeking through the crack of the slightly open door. Before I could even say anything, she started screaming and banging on my door.
No. Oh my God, guys, no.
My desk started to give way, so I got out of bed and held the door closed myself.
Yeah.
The screaming and banging went on for 2 more minutes.
2 minutes?
Once it finally stopped, I got up and called the police.
Call the police? I just get out of
there
as fast as
I opened the door to my bedroom, and my heart dropped. Every single one of the knives from our kitchen had been stabbed into the door. I was absolutely horrified, but I tried to compose myself.
Holy
I briefly
hell.
explained the situation to the 2 officers that arrived.
What?
I also told them which room Dorothy was in.
Oh.
She would provide a struggle in being detained, but they would ultimately take her away.
Yes, okay, that's good then.
The next month, I would move to another apartment.
Yes,
this time with some actual students from my university.
Yes, okay.
I still don't understand what made Dorothy do what she did. My best guess is she had some severe untreated condition she wasn't on medication for.
Yeah,
but
probably.
Then again, maybe not. Maybe she seriously intended to use those knives on me in my sleep. But because I took the precaution of pushing my desk in front of my door, I luckily didn't have to find out.
Oh, yeah. No, like, what a dumb idiot to go and be roommates with a 70-year-old woman. Of course something bad is gonna happen. He's a dumb person. Oh my God.
This experience happened to me when I was only 10 years old. Being that it was so long ago, I don't remember every small detail.
You're 10 years
but
old.
I'll do my best to keep everything as accurate as possible.
Oh, no.
Back then, I lived in a considerably remote area in the US.
Oh, okay.
Neighboring houses were a good half-mile apart. Therefore, while my family had met a couple of our neighbors, many of them were complete strangers.
Yeah.
This included the resident of the house to the left of ours. I don't remember his name, but it was an elderly man that lived there.
The hell?
He was creepy to say the least. All of the windows on his house were spray painted so that no one could see inside, and his whole yard was completely overgrown. I know all this because every Monday through Friday I had to walk past his house to get home from school.
Yeah.
Every time I did this, the man would either be standing on his porch watching me, or trying to make conversation with me as I walked by. It got to the point where I dreaded walking home from school.
I would just slap him out, be like, hey, you, don't talk to me. Bah! Slap him.
Maybe once or twice a month, the guy would make the half-mile walk to our house in the middle of the night. He would then shine a flashlight into the window of my room. I knew it was the same guy too, because one of the times I witnessed him walking down the road towards our house. Looking back, this was 100% extremely alarming behavior.
Yeah.
But at the time, I thought the best way of handling it was just to ignore it. Therefore, I didn't tell my parents about it. I also remember reasoning that my bedroom was on the second floor,
your parents.
So it's not like he was able to see much of inside my room anyway. Skip to a summer night in that same year, and I was once again woken up by the light of a flashlight shining in my room. Though, this time it was followed by a subtle thud sound against the wall. It felt like my heart had stopped. The only thing running through my mind in that moment was how it sounded exactly like a ladder being propped up against the side of the house. Not long later, my suspicions would be confirmed. A knocking sound rang out from the glass of the window. I looked over and was met with the smiling face of the man gesturing me to open the window.
Oh my
God. No, I screamed and ran to my parents' bedroom.
Run.
I desperately explained to them how the neighbor was outside my window. They went in my room, but of course he was gone by that point.
That is terrifying.
The worst part is, they didn't even believe me, chalking it up to me seeing things.
Believe your
Therefore,
kids.
The police were never called. But even now as an adult, I know exactly what I saw.
Yeah.
I try not to think about the intentions that guy had towards my 10-year-old self. I never saw him again after that. In fact, not even a week after the occurrence, and his house had a for sale sign up next to it.
Oh my
which
God.
To me serves as further proof that it was him.
Okay, that's good then. I've
lived in many different places since then, and not one neighbor comes even slightly close to how creepy that man was.
He was looking out through the window. Oh my goodness, guys. Anyways, guys, we are going to be watching one more animation, and then after this, I'm going to probably end the video, because, yeah, even though I have enjoyed these animations so much, I'm probably going to have to go after this video. So, yeah. Just a heads up.
My family and I have been living in a homeless shelter since the very first day that my city was officially on lockdown. The complex used to be an old motel, and in each room there's about 4 people. Thankfully, since mine is the only family here, we get to have a room to ourselves.
Okay, that's good.
That being said, we've been through a number of neighbors on either side of our room, and as you can expect, not all of them were good.
Yeah, obviously.
You have your typical druggies and mentally unstable.
Luckily with me, I have good neighbours, but for some people, it's like way worse.
People, but surprisingly, the worst was a man that we had actually become friends with. Let's call him David. David had been one of our first set of neighbors on the left side.
Okay.
He was a bald man in his late 20s to early 30s of average height and build.
Look at him. He already looks like a creep. Is that not a warning sign for you to, like, move? Because, look at him.
Glasses, a bright red beard, and he had a friendly disposition. My parents had started talking to him whenever they went outside for a smoke. My mother could talk to anyone, and she would always make friends. But my dad, well, he's a bit more reserved and introverted, a lot like me. So the fact that he had also started talking to David made me immediately trust him. A horrible decision.
Yeah, horrible.
My mother eventually insisted that I come meet him. He was exactly the kind of person that I usually get along with. He was mildly crude, sarcastic, and always down to talk about really deep and dark things. I befriended him rather quickly, and we discussed everything from stupid conspiracy theories to even childhood trauma.
Nice.
Both me and my 16-year-old brother were actually really quite fond of him. But this obviously didn't last.
Yeah, obviously, because if you're going to have a story about it.
He would talk about sex, his previous wife's affairs, and things of that nature.
What the hell?
At first, I was really happy that he was talking to me like an adult. I had just turned 18 years old in February, and I was still a little shocked about how differently people were treating me.
My God.
Things had started to escalate fairly soon after that.
He looks like a creep. Look at him.
He started hitting on me and talking about a hypothetical relationship between us. I'm pretty used to this kind of behavior, as I've been creeped on long before anywhere near the age of consent. But it still felt wrong that a man that was a bare minimum of 10 years older than me was being so forward to my barely legal self. However, I'm extremely unsocial, and I recently lost the remainder of all my friends. So I was just really desperate for human contact outside of my family. So I would just politely decline him and just laugh it off. One day when my parents and I were all outside, David came outside as well.
Okay.
He made really friendly conversations with us, and eventually the topic drifted into the staff that work here.
Okay.
For some context, there's always staff and at least one security guard that's working at all times. They do room checks, symptom checks, deliver meals, do laundry, and so on. Most of them are pretty chill, but there are a few of them who really abuse their power and make the residents' lives miserable. Also, the owners are super shady and do a lot of things that aren't exactly okay.
Because I've been to a hotel or a motel when I was younger, and it's like some of the security guards take so much advantage of you, it's just unreal.
Hey, so when David had then said that the security guard was going around the back of the building and looking in bathroom windows to make sure no one was smoking or doing drugs in there, well, my parents believed it.
That's too far.
They really just hate the way the place is run, and they're always mad about something. So they were pretty quick to board the how dare they train. I, on the other hand, just took the information with a grain of salt. I wasn't so eager to believe in rumors that really have no ground to stand on. For all I knew, it could have been started by a junkie that was tripping and just thinking what he was seeing was real.
Could have been.
A few nights later, when I was using the bathroom, I had heard the crunching of footsteps right outside. Now, the complex is surrounded by orchards, so it's not really uncommon to hear walking among the trees. But something in the pit of my stomach told me something was off.
Let's be honest though, yeah? If you heard that outside, you wouldn't think, oh, it's probably a police officer. You would probably think it's the creepy old man. It's like...
off. I snapped my head up just in time to then see a pale figure jerk away from the bug screen right on the open window. I quickly finish up, all the while the window never leaving my line of sight. The moment my pants are up, I decide to bolt and then run to tell my parents. They're pretty much both beyond pissed.
Yep.
They pretty much immediately assumed that it was security. That is, until they open our door only moments after the occurrence, to then see that the only security that was working on that night was still up at the front gate. Not only that, but the man wasn't white. So whoever's face I saw, it wasn't him. This immediately confused them. On the next morning, my parents are asking everyone if they saw or heard anyone outside their bathroom windows last night. There was a resounding no from everyone, but what really struck me as odd the most was that no one had even heard of the rumor about security. It seems like everyone here is extremely paranoid, so the fact that such a serious accusation was apparently not even being discussed was more than a bit strange to me.
It's just because of
my parents just assumed that David had just been messing with us, or that someone had been messing with him. I wanted to believe that too.
How is he messing with you guys? Like, peeping through someone's bathroom whilst they're, using the toilet. It's not like a joke. It's creepy.
After that, I was so freaked out that I started closing the window every time I went in there.
Using the restroom, I mean.
Right around this time, the weather started getting really warm, which meant that clothes started getting more revealing so that we wouldn't fry in the late spring sun. I guess this was a little too much for David to handle, as he started being even more forward than he was before, even around my parents. This didn't sit well with them.
Yeah.
It eventually got so bad that they requested he be moved to a different room. He wasn't. I started staying inside at all times when I could, and just avoiding David when I couldn't.
Yes, avoid him.
He must have noticed this, as he became increasingly aggressive every time he approached me.
My God.
He would always holler at me from across the complex, and also watch me intently whenever I walked my dog.
What the hell?
I had started noticing a very David-shaped silhouette right outside our window in the dead of night whenever my family was asleep.
No.
Peeking into the tiny gaps in the thin curtains. I would really like to say that I told my parents. but I didn't. I was really afraid that they would make a big stink about it and that we'd get kicked out and then have nowhere to go in the middle of a pandemic. So I just kept quiet. David was eventually moved, but not before he scared me one last time. I was once again in the bathroom. I had just gotten out of the shower and I was brushing my teeth with my towel wrapped around my body.
Okay.
I had music playing and was dancing around, just generally having a good time.
Yeah.
It was such a good time that I apparently forgot that I didn't close the window.
Oh no.
I had left it open during my shower to reduce the amount of steam, and I meant to close it when I got out. Thankfully, the shower was on the same wall as the window, making it physically impossible to see into it.
Okay, that's good then.
The sink that I was standing at, however, well, that was in full view of the window. This realization then hit me like a ton of bricks, when I then suddenly became hyper aware of the feeling of being watched. I tried to act natural, really hoping it was just my paranoia.
Yeah, paranoia, please.
I finished brushing my teeth, then opened up the medicine cabinet to put away my toothbrush. As I was closing it, I made sure to stop at an angle where I could see the reflection of the window in the mirror. Lo and behold, there he was. David was stood there with his face pressed against the bug screen. I was frozen in fear. The worst part was when he realized he had been caught, he didn't even move away immediately. He didn't even have the decency to look shocked or ashamed. No, he looked so smug, so self-satisfied.
He looks like a creep.
And then he moved with his footsteps crunched off into the distance. I never saw him again after that, and I never told my parents about it or about him watching me while I slept.
Why?
It still really freaks me out to think about it, especially since he has 2 daughters of his own. I only hope that they're never put into his custody. Even if he doesn't do anything to them, I really can't imagine what growing up with a father that acts like this would do to a girl. Somehow I really don't think that he'd set a very good standard for them.
He looks like a weirdo.
Hopefully you all agree with me.
Look at him. But yeah, anyways guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I know that I'm always reacting to scary animations now, but I don't have any video ideas. So if you guys do have any video ideas, please leave it in the comments. And yeah, but anyways, I will see you all in the next one, which will hopefully be tomorrow. And yeah, peace.